Lesson 2, multiplication and division of integers. So what numbers make up our set of integers? We have all the negative numbers and positive numbers. So we're going from negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay? What letter symbolizes this set of numbers? The letter I. And what do you notice or remember about multiplying and dividing integers? So what do you remember about multiplying a negative times a negative or a negative times a positive? What do you know about that stuff? Anybody remember? It's kind of tricky stuff sometimes.
If you have two negative integers and you multiply them, then you can solve it.
Absolutely. Okay, and what about a negative times a positive? It always gets you a negative answer. Good. Okay, so let's move on to the next one here. It says integers, they have positive whole numbers, negative whole numbers, they have 0, but the real important part here is that they do not have fractions or decimals in the set. Okay, there's no fractions or decimals yet. Okay, let's take a look at these. So if the signs are the same, when you're multiplying, if the signs are identical, they will always give you a positive answer. Okay, if there's only two signs. Okay, but if there's more than two signs, you have to use a separate rule. So do you remember the rule we used in the first unit when we talked about negatives and the exponents and how many negatives made a positive and how many negatives made a negative? Do you remember that? Okay, can somebody tell me about that? Do you forget? Already? You forget? Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, in the first unit, we counted the number of negative signs. So if I had something like this, negative 3 exponent 4, the 4 tells me I have 4 negative signs because the negative's in brackets. Okay? So 4 negative signs is going to give me what kind of answer when I multiply them? Positive. Okay? That'll give me a positive answer. Same kind of thing. So it's an even number of negative signs. If you have an even number of negative signs, you'll get a positive answer. If you have an odd number of negative signs, you get a negative answer, okay? So if that was negative 3 exponent 3, that's an odd number, you'll get a negative answer, okay? That's what we learned in the first unit. Same rules apply here. Now instead of numbers in brackets and exponents, we're just dealing with normal numbers, okay? We're just dealing with normal bedmass and normal digits and operations. So, we take our handy-dandy calculators, and we do the multiplying and dividing. Now, first of all, try and see how much you remember on your own without using the calculator. Do you remember how much 5 times 3 is? 15. Good. Let's try to use our mental math and sharpen our mental math skills. All right. How many negative signs do you see in B? 2 negatives. So what do you know about the answer? It's positive. Good. So positive what? 2 times 3? 6. Perfect. All right. Are there any negative signs at all in the next one? No. So your answer has no choice but to be what? Positive. Good. So 7 times 8? 56 all day long. All right. How many negative signs do you see in letter D? 2. So what's my answer going to be? Positive. Okay. Even number of negative signs means it's going to be a positive answer. 9 divided by 3 is? 3. 9 divided by 3. Okay. You're not subtracting there. All right. Let's take the next one. This is a divide sign. It looks a little bit funny there. It looks almost like a plus sign, but it's a divide sign. So we're dividing numbers here. Negative divided by negative. 2 negative signs gives me what kind of answer? Positive answer. What's 14 divided by 7? Or sorry, 2. Oh, I just gave you the answer. My goodness. 7. Okay. What does anything times 0 give you? 0. 0. Does it matter if it's a negative or positive? No, it's still just going to give you 0. Okay, let's look at the next one. If the signs on both numbers are different, or an odd number, of negative signs, the answer will always be negative. Okay? So, on the first one, all of these, count the number of negative signs in each question. How many do you see? There's 1 in each question. because I only have an odd number, one negative sign when I multiply or divide, my answers are all going to be negative. Okay, they're all going to be negative because you only have an odd number of negative signs when you're multiplying or dividing. Now we actually multiply or divide the digits. So, who knows what 18 times 3 is? 54. Good work. What about B? 28 divided by 7. 28 divided by 7. Who remembers that one?
4.
It's 4. Okay, remember, these are all negative answers. What's 12 divided by our negative 6 there? It's our negative 2. Good. Oh, multiply. Pardon me. I divided. Thank you for catching that error. Look how smart you are. Okay. 12 times 6. Still gives us a negative answer. So I have one negative sign. But what do I get when I take 12 times 6? So 6 groups of 12. 72. Raise your hand, please. Okay. Letter D. You have 104 dividing by 13. How many times is 104 divided by 13? Let's hands up. Gianna. 8 of them. Good. All right. 2 times by 5. 10. Good. We got a negative 10 there. And on the bottom, we have F, 72, negative 72 dividing by 6. What do we get with negative 72 divided by 6? 12. Good. And then again, it's a negative 12 because you have an odd number of negative signs. Okay. That's all we need to know. The lesson 2 handout just means the lesson 2 section in the practice book. Okay? The textbook only has certain lessons in it. It doesn't include all these other lessons of review that you've done from grades 6, 7, and 8. So that's why we did the practice book, because there's not a lot of questions in the textbook on this stuff. Okay, now we're going to jump right over to lesson 3. This concludes lesson 2, multiplying and dividing integers.